Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Tony 2.0 and I'm here today with a tutorial on how to get great looking local recordings out of OBS. I'm making this video because I've had quite a few friends lately that have switched over to PC and they all ask the same question: how do you get good recordings? And so I wanted to put this video up to show how I do it. I understand with what's on your screen right now it's a little bit weird because I'm recording the same monitor that I have my OBS up on, and I apologize for that, but it's just for the purposes of showing you guys exactly what I'm doing. OBS is a fantastic software for streaming, but not only that, it's amazing for getting great quality videos with less impact to your system than other programs like Fraps or something like that. It's also completely customizable, and all the encoding settings for X264 are just fantastic. It really leaves you wide open to increase the quality to as much as possible. For me, I did a lot of research, and I'm not claiming that I am the best at this, but this is what works for me. And on systems similar to mine or better than mine, you're going to get fantastic quality with good results and not very much pressure put onto your system. So let's get started. First and foremost, there's a few things that you guys should know already, and that's how to add a scene. Look it up if you don't know how to do that already. As you can see, I have a simple monitor capture up, and that's what we're going to be basing things off of today. We're going to jump right into the first thing that's very, very important. When you're capturing either a monitor or a game, when you open this up, what you want to do is make sure that your size selected is the actual monitor itself. Sometimes this can be adjusted. It will mess up how your recording looks in the end. For me, I'm recording in 1080p, and that's going to play into part of the settings that we set up in OBS itself. Now let's get into the settings. As we go through, I'll just go through each tab so you guys can see exactly what I have, and we'll go from there. Underneath the general tab, pretty specific, nothing that really needs to be changed there. And under encoding is where we really start to get into the meat of things. For encoding, if you're like me and you're using an NVIDIA card, NVIDIA NVENC is another type of encoding that you can use, and you'll have to look up more specifics on how to use that. I just haven't played around with it yet. The other option up here is QuickSync, which is for people who have Intel chips that have built-in Intel QuickSync. What this does is partitions a portion of your CPU that is generally not used for encoding and uses those unused cycles to help take the load off of your main processes. It's a very cool system. Linus Tech Tips did a great video on it. Again, something that I just haven't messed with. These are the settings that I use. Underneath quality balance, it's a scale of 0 to 10. I choose 9. It's just kind of an arbitrary thing. If you have a higher end system, and we'll start by saying this, my system is an i5 3570K, so anything this level and above and the AMD equivalents, these settings are going to make your videos look great. The quality balance, I could go up to 10 easy. Again, it's one of those arbitrary things that I just have it set on 9 because that's what I have it set at. At the max bit rate, what you're going to want to program this to is going to be variable dependent on how good your CPU is and how intensive the games you are playing are going to be. The max bit rate anywhere, I always put it 5,000, 10,000, or 15,000 at its max. Underneath the encoding, you're going to want to have enable CBR padding, that's constant bitrate padding, and use custom buffer size. This is very important, and I'll explain to you why. I know it seems weird, and a lot of videos say put this on equal to what your max bitrate is. That is important for streaming, but in local recording, setting the buffer size to 0 enables it to have a variable buffer size so that you get max buffer as fast as it can possibly go. It's a default setting for OBS that I did some research on, and this is where the best quality comes out of. If you have a buffer size selected, very similar to like if you have it not change from where you stream at, you're going to see a lot of lag and possible artifact in your videos. Underneath your audio encoding, AAC bit rates up to, I mean, whatever. I usually go to 192 and then leave all this stuff. You guys can toy with that more if you want. Moving on down to broadcast settings, there's a few things that you can do here. You can file output only and live stream. Those are, obviously we're going to go live stream, or excuse me, file output only because we're not live streaming right now. Underneath the video section, this is where making sure your resolution is selected correctly is very important. You want to either click on monitor, which will give you the native resolution for the monitor that you're capturing, or go custom. What you can do in-game if you're recording like a game capture or a window capture is select the custom resolution that you're using. Some lower-end systems are not able to run on 1080p, and therefore this is where you can change that so that you get the best quality that you can. The FPS here, this is completely up to how your system works, as well as the resolution downscale. For me, I don't downscale at all. I want 1080p, I want 60 FPS, and my machine is able to handle it. For disable arrow here, it says it's strongly recommended while using monitor capture. I leave it selected while I'm using game capture. As you can see, it is enabled while I'm monitoring, and this video is going to turn out great. So, underneath audio, we're not going to get too much into it, but you can select a whole bunch of different things for your what mic you're using, all of that stuff. Now let's get into the meat of things. Up here on the top, these you want to select Use Multi-Thread Optimizations. Your process priority class, you want to keep it normal. Going above that, you're going to just use up more cycles of your CPU that are just not necessary to get very high quality recordings. Underneath scene buffer time, this is one of those things that's a little bit weird, and so I kind of went with the sum of all parts. Most people have this anywhere between 200 and 500, and on the actual forums in OBS itself, they said 300 is kind of the sweet spot. Again, not horribly familiar with that, but whatever. Now we're going to get into the major things with the encoding system for X264. X264 has hundreds and hundreds of encoding options. I'm going to give you the one that works best for me, and you guys can do your own research on what else you can see. Underneath the CPU preset, this setting here controls how much load you're going to put onto your CPU and how much each bit of data is going to be processed each time it's looking at something or recording something. This setting is very important, and it's a little confusing. Up at ultra fast, this is going to be your lowest quality, and slower is going to be your highest quality, larger file size, and more load. Very fast or super fast is the pretty nominal setting for everyone that does these videos, the setups, and so I stick with very fast because the quality is fantastic. Going down to your encoding profile, I set it to high, and your keyframe interval at 2. This is another one of those settings that it's a little weird, and people don't really explain it that well, and doing research is confusing too. All I know is 2 seems to be the sweet spot for just about everyone. Now we're going to get into the meat of things and why I feel these are the best settings for you. Most people use the default CFR setting, that is constant frame rate. This is a locked frame rate that is supposed to help minimize lag for most systems that are, like I said, i5 or higher. This is going to be a pretty good setting if you don't want to get into the more difficult side of things. It's going to give you a very moderate file size, high quality, and it's, like I said, just kind of the nominal thing right out of the box. Most people use it and it doesn't work. For me, what I have found is that going with a custom encoding setting has been much better, and I will explain why. This setting here, CRF. CRF stands for Constant Rate Factor. What this is the default encoder for X264. This is what it was originally made with and what gives the highest quality out there. There's plenty of other encoding settings that you can use, but CRF seems to be the one that has the best quality to it. CRF comes with a variable scale of 0 to 51. The normal setting for X264 through CRF is 23. That is where we are not getting quite lossless capture. It's not incredible quality, but it's right kind of in the border of starting to downgrade the quality of the video versus too much load, too much processing power being wasted. If you are going to try this setting, what I recommend is start at CRF, and then the signal here, CRF equals, and then the value. I would recommend starting at CRF equals 23 and go from there. All of this recording and encoding stuff is going to be subjective from there. And so you look at it and see how you think. If you think the quality isn't up to snuff, you can go down. And I would go down incrementally by one number, record a little bit, and see how it goes. One of the benefits to using CRF over CFR is that during those high motion games, action-packed moving things, you're going to see a lot less ghosting, a lot less visual artifact, and it's really just going to help take some of the load off of your system because you can make it more variable instead of just the set right out of the box thing. Guys, this is the settings that I use, and I implore you to go and check them out yourself. Look up this CRF system because it's pretty fantastic. If I'm looking to get extremely high quality that I can use to be rendered in Sony Vegas, add color correction, this is what I have found to be the best results for me. There's virtually nothing, it's as close to lossless capture without wasting CPU power and getting huge file sizes that I can. For me, I've dialed my CRF number down to 20, and it seems to work out fantastic. I was working at 18, but the file sizes were too big, and since I record a lot of League of Legends, I just didn't want to have to render out those big of files. Sticking with 20 has minimized those down, and a 40-minute video at 1080p, 60 FPS, roughly nets me about 1.5 gigs or 2 gigs of file size, which isn't too... It's not out of the world unmanageable. Guys, I really hope that this video helped you out. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I hope this helps you guys get a whole bunch better increase in your quality of video. Please click like if this was helpful. Leave those comments. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks, guys.